Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss about this COVID-19. It is also known as SARS-CoV-2. So this is coronavirus disease 2019 and it is also known as SARS-CoV-2, that is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It is an helically symmetrical enveloped virus, and because of this envelope it gives an lipid solvent susceptibility, and hence when alcohol based sanitizers or soaps are used, there is disruption of this membrane, disruption of this lipid bilayer, and there is inhibition of viral metabolism. Okay, so that's why sanitizers and soaps are very useful. Next is the receptor for this virus. So the receptor in our body for this virus is ACE2, that is angiotensin converting enzyme receptor 2, and this enzyme receptor is present or expressed nearly all human organs, right? It is expressed in nearly all the human organs, but specifically it is more commonly expressed in our respiratory system, that is also type 2 alveolar epithelial cells, and hence the primary target for this virus in our body is the respiratory system, that is type 2 alveolar cells. Okay, so here is this receptor angiotensin converting enzyme 2, and this spike protein is infectious in nature, and it gives the virus the host specificity. Okay, so this spike protein joins with this receptor and then there is infection. Okay, then mode of transmission. The mode of transmission in this virus is droplet transmission, fomite, and airborne droplet nuclei. So this droplet is up to 6 feet, and the size of this droplet is 5 to 10 microns, and this is the direct transfer of these droplets. Okay, in case of fomites, these are the inanimate objects like the doorknobs or clothes of this person who is infected with this virus. Then airborne droplet nuclei are, these are nothing but, this is a droplet, but when this droplet get evaporated, then this only this nucleus part or this virus material only left in the air, and this can transmit up to 6 meter distance, and the size of this droplet nuclei are less than 5 microns, and this is an indirect transmission. The next is the incubation period of this virus is about 1 to 14 days, and it is an propagated type of outbreak. Okay, it is an propagated type of outbreak, means one person getting infected, it can transfer to the another one, and then it can transfer to another one. So there is propagation of the disease from one person to another, right? Next is the symptoms of this disease. So symptoms are like fever with or without chills, cough, loss of taste and smell, generalized weakness, fatigue, headache, body ache, sore throat, running nose, difficulty in breathing, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, altered mental stress. The risk factors for this disease: age more than 60 years, cardiac diseases, chronic lung disease, hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and chronic kidney disease. These are the risk factors for COVID-19. So now diagnosis. So how can we diagnose this disease? So samples taken are from the throat and nasal swab, then oropharyngeal swab, nasopharyngeal swab, bronchoalveolar lavage, and endotracheal aspirate. Okay, so here a nasopharyngeal swab is taken, and the head tilt is 70 degrees backward, right? So the head tilt should be 70 degrees backward. The next is the transport of samples. According to WHO guidelines, the sample should be transported at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade, and according to the Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Virology guidelines, the sample must be transported at 4 degrees centigrade. Okay, then this molecular testing of this virus requires BSL-2 facility, right? Biological safety level 2 facility. The gold standard for the diagnosis of COVID-19 is RT-PCR, that's reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction. Another test is rapid antigen testing. So now we will see the interpretation of this test. Okay, so when the rapid antigen testing is done, so when it is positive, it is considered as reported as positive irrespective of the symptom status. Even if the patient is having no symptoms, still it is reported as positive. And when the test is negative but the patient is having symptoms like fever, cough, sore throat, then retesting by RT-PCR is done. But if the patient is asymptomatic, then no need to do any test. But if the symptoms develop, then repeat the test by either rapid antigen test or RT-PCR. Okay. The next is lab abnormalities in COVID-19. So lab abnormalities, so there is lymphopenia, that is lymphocytes decreased in 90% of the patients. There is mild thrombocytopenia. There is increased LDH levels, increased inflammatory markers like ESR, CRP and ferritin. Then there is also increased aminotransaminases. There are increased markers of hypercoagulable states like increased fibrinogen levels, increased D-dimer levels, and prolonged PT and APTT levels. There is increased fibrin degradation products. Then the CT scan of COVID-19 patient. So it shows an typical appearance of ground glass opacity, which is most commonly seen. Then there is consolidation and air bronchogram, but these are not specific for COVID-19, but this ground glass opacity is having much more specificity for this COVID-19 disease. So this is ground glass opacity. Now home quarantine. So when a person comes in contact with COVID-19 positive patient, he has to be quarantined for 14 days. But for a mild case of COVID positive, 17 days starting from the symptoms of onset. Okay. So when a person comes in contact with COVID-19 positive, then he has to be quarantined for 14 days. But a mild case of COVID positive, that is RT-PCR positive, has to be quarantined for 17 days starting from the symptoms onset. Right. Next, the COVID-19 positive patients are categorized into 3 categories: mild, moderate and severe. So this mild is fever or upper respiratory tract infection. Okay, fever or upper respiratory tract infection. Then for moderate, it is pneumonia with no signs of severe disease and the respiratory rate is more than 24 minutes and the SpO2 is less than 94%. But in severe, there is respiratory distress, the respiratory rate is more than 30 per minute, the SpO2 is less than 90%. Now in case of mild, we have to admit the patient to COVID care center or we have to home quarantine, as we have seen here, for 17 days starting from symptoms onset. But in case of moderate, admit the patient to dedicated COVID health center, and in case of severe disease, dedicated COVID hospital, the patient is admitted to dedicated COVID hospital. Then the treatment, the symptomatic management is given in the mild case, but hydroxychloroquine can be used if the patient is having high risk features to develop the severe disease of COVID-19. So only in that cases hydroxychloroquine can be used. In case of moderate, oxygen target should be 90 to 96%. Awake proning is used if the patient is having hypoxia even after having 4 liters of oxygen. And other criteria for this proning is the first one is the oxygen requirement more than 4 liters, the normal mental status, and self-prone, or the patient must be able to self-prone, or proning must be done with minimal assistance. So what is this proning? So proning is done for 30 to 120 minutes in prone position, oxygen is given, then next in left lateral position, then in right lateral position, and then in upright sitting position. But care must be taken while proning the patient to not remove the oxygen supply, right? So we have to look for the oxygen. Now next is daily monitoring. So CBC, RFT, LFT, ECG and absolute lymphocyte count is measured daily. Then 48-hour monitoring is for CRP, D-dimer and ferritin. Then treatment is hydroxychloroquine 400 mg BD for the first day, followed by 400 mg OD for 4 days. Then enoxaparin 40 mg subcutaneously once a day. Then IV methylprednisolone 0.5 to 1 mg per kg per day for 3 to 5 days. Investigational therapies are convalescent plasma 200 ml per day for every 24 hours. And in severe, we have to give continuous positive airway pressure or non-invasive ventilation, and if the patient is still having hypoxia, then intubation may be needed, and if there is refractory hypoxia, then prone ventilation is given. Hydroxychloroquine is not given in severe cases. Enoxaparin is given, but here it is given BD, here it was given OD. Okay. Then IV methylprednisolone dose is 1 to 2 milligrams per kg per day for 7 days, and here it was given for 3 days to 5 days and for 1.5 to 1 milligrams per day per kg per day. 0.5 to 1 milligrams per kg per day for 3 to 5 days, but here it is given 7 days. Investigational therapies: injection tocilizumab 8 milligrams per kg, 1 dose, and if there is no improvement in symptoms, then the dose can be repeated after 12 to 24 hours. Then the contraindications to proning: when the patient is having hemodynamic instability, the proning should not be done, and if the close monitoring of the patient is not possible, then also this proning should not be done. Then contraindications to hydroxychloroquine usage: in severe disease, if QT prolongation is more than 480 milliseconds and history of unexplained syncope, in these cases hydroxychloroquine should not be used. Then revised discharge policy for COVID-19: when the patient should be discharged. So confirmed case of COVID-19 is admitted to the hospital. Now, in case of very mild or pre-symptomatic cases, discharge after 10 days of symptom onset and no fever for 3 days, then we can discharge the patient. In case of moderate, if fever is resolved within 3 days and oxygen saturation is maintained without support, then discharge after 10 days of symptom onset. And it has to be taken care that the fever is absent in the absence of paracetamol, resolution of breathlessness, and there is no oxygen requirement. And if symptoms do not resolve and the demand of oxygen is continued, then there is discharge only after resolution of clinical symptoms and there is ability to maintain oxygen saturation for consecutive 3 days. And in severe cases, including the immunocompromised state, these two criteria must be fulfilled. That is, there is clinical recovery and the patient must be tested negative once by RT-PCR before discharge. So this was about the COVID-19 treatment, symptoms, signs, and some basic concepts. In the next video, we will discuss about the COVID vaccines. Thank you.